Good morning, Past Bing. Today's another long day, so I'm getting started early. I'm gonna cycle a few K, go shower, have a delicious healthy breakfast of banana and peanut butter, inspired by John Green's new series, 100 Days.
Yes!
Then I'm gonna take these CDs and vinyls and comics to the post office and send them out into the world.
If you want one of these, head over to hitwithwrench.com, #spawn.
My voice is real bad this morning. Probably have some kind of hot tea as well. Then I'm going into work to prep some lectures for next week, and this evening I'm going to an event by Google promoting the Pixel and the Daydream headset. There was another thing I was going to go to, and I had to cancel it. It's one of those days, you know, where everything just happens. Tomorrow would have been fine, but it all had to be today. So we're already halfway through this series, and I kind of wish it didn't have to end. I'm having so much fun documenting my life. Having a camera in my hand every day again is something I just haven't done in a long time. The response so far has been absolutely fantastic. Thank you to everyone who is watching. And I'm learning a lot about myself, maybe more than I did in the original series. One of the biggest criticisms of the original PBFB was that the conversation through time didn't really feel like a conversation. Future Bing didn't address Past Bing very much. I didn't choose to talk about the specific things happening in his life. You can chalk it up partly to poor planning, and the fact that my life in 2012 was so hectic and new and crazy. Often I felt like the decision was between filming what was happening then and talking about stuff that had already happened. And most of the time I chose to live in the moment, or the moment made the decision for me. So let's talk about what's going on with you. Everyone can kind of agree that January sucks. In this country, the weather is awful, it's grey, it's cold, it's wet, it gets icy. In business, it is always a slump. In media particularly, nobody wants to spend money after the Christmas boom. There's no budget for marketing, no budget for advertising. Companies don't want to hire new people or start new projects. And as a freelancer, it can be very hard to find work. Ask any of my friends who are self-employed which month they hate the most. They'll say January. My drink, I gotta get my drink. See, the thing, Past Bing, is that's not all of it. What's happening to you right now is more to do with your head. And it's going to take a very long time for you to figure it out. See, for a long time now, Past Bing, you've been suffering from heart palpitations or ectopic heartbeats. That's where instead of having a normal rhythm, your heart's going like... It's not particularly harmful, but it keeps you up at night, it's distracting, it can be uncomfortable. You saw your heart specialist who prescribed you beta blockers to see if they would help. And they did. Nothing, no palpitations. You're sleeping better, you're more comfortable, your heart's not distracting you. Meanwhile, you are getting sadder. You start getting these depressive bouts where whole afternoons disappear into a hole. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to see people. You don't want to get out of bed. You start suffering from anxiety. You're worrying about the future. You're worrying about money. And none of that is new necessarily, but you're taking it to extremes that you've never done before. This month, Past Bing, although it's not documented, you have your first panic attack ever. We don't suffer from anxiety. We don't have panic attacks, Past Bing, but you have one, and it's one of the worst evenings of your life. You're up all night, you're sweating, your muscles are tight, your brain is running around in circles, asking the same questions, getting the same confused answers. It exhausts you, it drains you, and it scares you. And this starts happening regularly. It becomes predictable, so much so that you start thinking, well, maybe this is me. Maybe this is who I am now. Maybe there was some kind of dead man's trigger in my head ready to go off in my mid-20s, and now I am a sad person. And it's a testament to how insidious things like depression can be that you resign yourself to your fate. And it doesn't occur to you at all until you're talking with Mandy about it weeks from now that it could be the beta blockers. You stop taking them immediately, of course, and you call up your doctor and actually leave maybe the funniest voicemail that's ever been left. You gave them your name and your NHS number, and you told them what the pills were, and you described in detail what your symptoms were, and you did it all very professionally. And then you signed off by saying, or maybe I'm just sad. Let me know either way. Bye. But within a few days, it was clear that you weren't just sad. They had been making you sad. These tiny little pills that were helping you were also turning you into a completely different person. With that in mind, it's easy to understand how you and I are so different, Past Bing. And making that discovery was another of the big steps you took this year to improve your life. And I'm glad you did, Past Bing, because watching that video yesterday reminding me that I don't ever want to go back there. As a YouTuber and a personality and a social media whatever, I've never really spoken up about mental health because I don't think it's my place. But I hope this chapter from my life might help one or two of you. So much of our brain chemistry comes down to really basic things like diet and vitamins and the medicines that we're taking. And this experience gave me an insight into how people can be held hostage over the most simple things. If anything I describe sounds familiar to you, I encourage you to talk to a doctor. It may be that the medication that you are taking for a perfectly benign reason is causing other side effects. It can also happen the other way around. You might have a deficiency. And sometimes things as simple as a lack of vitamin D can manifest themselves as depression. Anyway, that's my thing. All out in the open. I'm gonna get to work. I hope this has been informative for you guys. It definitely was for me. And I'll see you tomorrow, Pass Bing.